The desert sun hammers down on the checkpoint station, turning the asphalt into waves of heat. 11 German shepherds sit in perfect formation outside the gray concrete building, their tongues hanging out, ears swiveling at every sound. The youngest among them, a 9-month-old named Rookie, shifts his weight from paw to paw. His handler, Agent Maria Santos, rests her hand on his head. It has been 3 months since Maria partnered with Rookie. 3 months of early mornings and late nights. 3 months of watching the other handlers exchange knowing glances when her young dog gets distracted by butterflies or barks at his own shadow. 3 months of proving to everyone, including herself, that this eager pup has what it takes. The temperature reads 107 degrees. Maria squints against the glare bouncing off windshields in the parking lot. Sweat trickles down her spine beneath the uniform. She has been doing this job for 6 years, working with 3 different K9 partners before Rookie. None of them had his raw enthusiasm. None of them looked at her the way he does, like she hung the moon. Agent Marcus Chen walks past with Titan, his 7-year-old veteran. Titan's muzzle is graying, his gait slower than it used to be, but his focus never wavers. Chen nods at Maria. Rookie keeping up with the training? Better every day. Maria keeps her voice neutral. She knows what Chen really means. Is your baby dog ready for real work? Can he handle the pressure? She hopes so. God, she hopes so. The radio crackles. A voice cuts through the static. All units, suspicious vehicle approaching checkpoint 3. White panel van, no plates. Maria feels Rookie tense beneath her palm. The other handlers around her spring into action, loading their K9 partners into patrol vehicles. She opens the door to her truck, and Rookie leaps inside, his black nose already working the air streaming through the open window. The drive takes 4 minutes. 4 minutes of silence except for the rumble of engines and the occasional bark from the other vehicles in the convoy. Maria glances in her rearview mirror at Rookie. His eyes are locked on something she cannot see, his body rigid with focus. They arrive at a stretch of dirt road where the van sits parked at an angle, driver door open, engine still running. No one inside. The other K9 units form a semicircle around the vehicle while their handlers scan the horizon. Nothing but scrub brush and rock formations stretching toward the mountains. Lead handler Agent Marcus Chen releases his dog first. Titan, a 7-year-old veteran with scars along his muzzle, circles the van twice before sitting hard near the rear doors. Alert position. The signal for drugs or humans hidden inside. Maria unclips Rookie from his harness. Go find. The young dog bounds forward, his movements less refined than the older K9s, but his enthusiasm unmistakable. He joins the circle forming around the van, nose low to the ground. 10 experienced dogs and 1 Rookie, all working the same problem. Then Rookie stops. His head snaps toward the rocky outcropping 40 yards away. A low whine builds in his throat. Maria follows his gaze. At first she sees nothing, just rocks and shadows and the shimmer of heat. But Rookie is pulling against her grip now, his entire body straining toward something. She gives the command. Show me. Rookie takes off running. Maria sprints behind him, her boots kicking up dust. The other handlers shout questions, but she does not look back. She trusts her dog. They reach the rocks, and Rookie squeezes between 2 boulders. Maria hears it then, a sound that makes her blood run cold. A child crying. She wedges herself through the gap. The space opens into a small cave, barely 5 feet deep. A little girl sits against the back wall, maybe 6 years old, her face streaked with dirt and tears. Her lips are cracked and bleeding, her eyes wide with terror. The girl wears a pink dress that Maria recognizes from the missing person photos. Carmen Hernandez, the child who vanished from a hospital 6 days ago, while her mother watched helplessly. Maria reaches for her radio, but before she can speak, Rookie collapses. The seizure hits him fast and violent. His legs splay out, his body convulsing on the rocky ground. Foam gathers at his mouth. His eyes roll back until only the whites show. The sound he makes, a high-pitched keening, echoes off the cave walls. No, no, no! Maria drops to her knees beside him. Her hands hover over his shaking body, helpless. She has been trained for this moment. They covered it in the academy. Protect the airway. Keep the head elevated. Do not restrain the animal. But her mind goes blank. All she can see is her dog dying in front of her. All she can hear is that terrible sound coming from his throat. The little girl screams. The sound is raw and primal, filled with 6 days of terror finally finding release. Agent Chen appears in the gap between the rocks, his bulk barely fitting through. He takes one look at Rookie and gets on the radio. We need veterinary emergency at checkpoint 3 now. Then he turns to Maria. How long? 30 seconds. Maybe more. Maria's voice cracks. She pulls off her uniform shirt and balls it under Rookie's head, trying to keep him from smashing his skull against the stone. Chen moves to the child, speaking in soft Spanish. The girl does not respond. She just stares at the seizing dog with an expression Maria cannot read. The seizure lasts 93 seconds. When it stops, Rookie lies panting on the cave floor, his tongue lolling to one side. He tries to stand and falls, tries again, and manages to get his front legs under him. Easy, boy. Easy. Maria's hands shake as she strokes his head. The other handlers have gathered outside the cave entrance. She can hear them calling in the situation, coordinating extraction of the child, requesting medical support. But Maria only has eyes for her dog. Rookie blinks slowly, trying to focus. His breathing comes in ragged gasps. Then he does something that stops her heart. He looks past her to the girl, and he whines. Not a whine of pain, a whine of alert. The same sound he made before finding her. Maria turns. The child has not moved from her position against the wall. She wears a pink dress, torn at the hem. No shoes. Her hair is matted with what looks like dried blood. And around her wrist, barely visible beneath the grime, is a plastic hospital bracelet. Chen sees it too. He photographs it with his phone, zooming in on the faded text. Then his face goes white. This is her. This is the Hernandez girl. She's been missing for 6 days. Maria knows the case. Every agent on the border knows it. Carmen Hernandez, kidnapped from a hospital in Juarez after her mother brought her in for a fever. Taken by men in white coats who claimed they were transferring her to a better facility. The mother's screams had echoed through the hospital corridors, but security had done nothing. By the time real police arrived, Carmen was gone. 6 days of searching. 6 days of leads going nowhere. 6 days of a mother holding press conferences, begging for her daughter's return. And Rookie found her. Chen coordinates the extraction while Maria stays with Rookie and Carmen. The child will not let anyone touch her except Maria. She clutches Maria's hand with fingers that feel like twigs, her grip surprisingly strong despite her obvious weakness. The mobile vet unit arrives 12 minutes later. Dr. Patricia Reeves kneels beside Rookie, checking his vitals, shining a light in his eyes. She asks Maria questions about the seizure duration, any previous incidents, changes in behavior. No previous seizures. He's been healthy. Maria hears herself answering, but her mind is elsewhere. She's thinking about the white van, about Carmen being found 40 yards from that van, about how none of the older dogs caught her scent, but Rookie did. Dr. Reeves administers anti-seizure medication through an IV line. Rookie's breathing steadies. His eyes begin to track movement again. When Dr. Reeves tries to move him to the stretcher, he resists. His gaze stays fixed on Carmen. It's okay, boy. She's safe now. Maria's voice breaks on the last word. They load both Rookie and Carmen into separate ambulances. Maria rides with her dog. As they pull away from the scene, she watches through the rear window as the other agents surround the white van. They have found something in the back. Body bags. 4 of them. Not drugs. Human trafficking. Her radio crackles with updates. The driver has been spotted running toward the mountains. All units in pursuit. Possible accomplices in the area. Exercise extreme caution. But Maria only half listens. Her hand rests on Rookie's chest, feeling the steady rise and fall of his breathing. The young dog who has been with her for only 3 months. The dog other handlers said was too young, too untested, too eager. The dog who just saved a little girl's life. The veterinary clinic sits at the edge of town, a low building with kennels out back and a parking lot that smells like disinfectant. Dr. Reeves leads them into an examination room where she runs blood work and takes X-rays. She connects Rookie to monitors that beep softly in the quiet space. Green lines spike and fall across the screen, tracking his heartbeat, his breathing, his brain activity. Maria sits on the floor beside the exam table, her back against the wall. Her body aches with exhaustion. Her uniform shirt is still balled up in her truck, covered in Rookie's saliva and dirt from the cave floor. She wears only her undershirt now, stained with sweat and fear. But she will not leave. Cannot leave. Not until she knows he will be okay. The waiting is its own kind of torture. She watches the monitors, trying to decode their meaning. Watches Dr. Reeves's face for any flicker of concern. Watches Rookie's chest rise and fall with each breath, counting them like prayers. Dr. Reeves studies the screens for a long time before speaking. Blood work shows no toxins, no infections. X-rays are clear. Brain activity is normal now, but during a seizure like that, there's significant electrical disruption. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. I need to be honest with you. This type of seizure in a young dog can mean several things. Could be a one-time event triggered by stress or overheating. Could be the start of epilepsy. Could be something structural we can't see without more advanced imaging. We won't know until we see if it happens again. What if it does happen again? Maria forces herself to ask the question. Her voice sounds hollow in her own ears. Can he still work? The vet's expression softens. Let's take this one step at a time. For now, he needs rest. No stress, no excitement. Just quiet and recovery. She glances at Maria's drawn face. And so do you. But Maria cannot rest. Her mind races with images of Carmen's face, of Rookie's convulsing body, of those 4 body bags in the van. She thinks about all the children who were not as lucky as Carmen. The ones who died in the desert, their bodies left to the vultures and coyotes. The ones who ended up in those bags, their names unknown, their families still searching. And she thinks about Rookie, about how his body failed him at the exact moment he succeeded in his mission, about whether that will always be the pattern. Find the victim, collapse, save the day, pay the price. Her phone buzzes, a text from Chen. Girl is stable, being reunited with mother at hospital. Full debrief at 0600. Good work today. Maria types a response with shaking fingers. Rookie did the work, I just followed. The night drags on. Dr. Reeves brings Maria coffee and a sandwich she cannot eat. Other agents stop by to check on Rookie, to offer words of support. But Maria feels numb to all of it. At 3 a.m, Rookie opens his eyes. Really opens them. Not the unfocused stare from before, but clear and present. He lifts his head and looks directly at Maria. She crosses the room in 2 strides and buries her face in his fur. He smells like sweat and medicine and something else, something that smells like courage. Hey, boy, you scared me. She pulls back to look at him. His tail thumps weakly against the exam table. You did so good. You found her. You saved her. Rookie licks her hand. The simple gesture breaks something inside Maria. She has been holding herself together through pure force of will, but now the tears come. Great heaving sobs that shake her whole body. She cries for Carmen and for Rookie and for all the fear and adrenaline of the last 8 hours. When she finally stops, she feels hollowed out but clean, like a wound that has been washed. Dr. Reeves returns at dawn. She examines Rookie again, checking his responses, testing his coordination. He moves stiffly but without apparent pain. All his reflexes are normal. I want to keep him for observation another 24 hours. Dr. Reeves makes notes on her tablet. But I think he's going to be okay. Can I stay with him? The vet smiles. I was counting on it. Maria calls her supervisor to report she's taking personal time. Then she settles into the chair beside Rookie's kennel and watches him sleep. The debrief happens without her. Chen calls to fill her in on the details. The man they caught was part of a trafficking ring that moved children across the border to sell them for illegal adoptions or worse. The 4 body bags contained children who had not survived the journey. Carmen had been with the traffickers for all 6 days, drugged to keep her quiet, waiting to be moved to the next location. But something had gone wrong. The driver had gotten spooked at the checkpoint and abandoned the van. He had grabbed Carmen from the back and run with her into the desert. When he heard the dogs approaching, he shoved her into the cave and kept running. Left her to die alone in the heat. How did Rookie find her? Maria asks. The other dogs were all around that van. None of them picked up her scent. Chen is quiet for a moment. I don't know. Maybe because he was young and still learning. Maybe he was scanning wider while the experienced dogs focused on the immediate area. Or maybe he just got lucky. Does it matter? It matters to Maria, but she does not say so. She thanks Chen for the update and ends the call. She thinks about luck and instinct and the mysterious way some dogs just know things. Rookie had found Carmen before the seizure. His body had given out, but his mind had stayed locked on the mission. Even after collapsing, he had tried to alert Maria to the girl's presence. That is not luck. That is something else, something deeper. The second day passes slowly. Rookie sleeps most of the time, but when he's awake, he eats and drinks and follows commands. Dr. Reeves runs more tests. Everything comes back normal except for slightly elevated stress hormones, which she says is expected after a seizure. On the 3rd morning, Maria receives a visitor, a woman in her 30s with Carmen's eyes and Carmen's smile. Rosa Hernandez, Carmen's mother. Agent Santos? The woman's voice is soft, uncertain. May I come in? Maria leads her to a bench outside the clinic. They sit in the shade of a mesquite tree, and for a long time neither of them speaks. Finally, Rosa clears her throat. I wanted to thank you for finding my daughter, for bringing her home. It wasn't me. Maria shakes her head. It was my dog, Rookie. Rosa's eyes fill with tears. May I see him? They walk inside together. Rookie is awake, sitting up in his kennel. When he sees Rosa, his ears perk forward. She kneels in front of the kennel door and extends her hand. Rookie sniffs it, then licks her fingers. Carmen told me about him, about how he was shaking on the ground but still trying to get to her. She said she thought he was dying, but he wanted to make sure she was okay first. Rosa wipes her eyes. She told me that's when she knew someone was coming to save her, because the dog cared that much. Maria feels her throat tighten. How is Carmen? Dehydrated, traumatized, but alive. Rosa looks up at Maria with fierce gratitude. Because of you. Because of him. What they don't say is that Carmen will carry this forever. That she will have nightmares and trust issues and a hole in her childhood that can never be filled. But she will also have her mother. She will have birthdays and graduations and a life. That has to be enough. Rosa leaves after half an hour, pressing a photo into Maria's hand. It shows Carmen in the hospital, pale and thin but smiling. She holds a stuffed German Shepherd toy that someone gave her. Maria tucks the photo into her wallet where she can see it every day. On the fourth day, Dr. Reeves gives her approval for Rookie to go home. No more seizures, no neurological deficits. He can return to light duty in 2 weeks and full duty in 4, pending another evaluation. Maria loads him into her truck. He jumps in without hesitation, settling into his usual spot by the window. They drive through town, and Maria realizes she's not heading home. She's heading back to the station. The other K9 units are running drills in the training yard when they arrive. Maria parks and watches through the windshield. Titan and the other veteran dogs execute perfect searches, their movements efficient and practiced. They are professionals, the best of the best. But Rookie is special in a different way. He has heart, he has instinct that cannot be taught, and he has the kind of courage that shows up when everything else fails. She gets out of the truck and opens Rookie's door. He hops down, and immediately his demeanor changes. His ears go up. His tail starts wagging. This is his place. This is where he belongs. The other handlers spot them and start walking over. Chen reaches them first. He kneels down, and Rookie practically tackles him with enthusiasm. Chen laughs and scratches behind the dog's ears. "Heard you're cleared for duty." Chen looks up at Maria. "We could use you back." "Actually," Maria says, "I was hoping we could talk. About Rookie's training." "What about it?" "I think he might be gifted. Not just as a patrol dog. As a tracking dog. Did you see how he picked up Carmen's scent when the others didn't? He's got something special." Chen considers this. "We could test him, see if he qualifies for the specialized tracking program. But that would mean a lot more training. A lot more time." Maria looks at Rookie, who is now play wrestling with Titan like nothing happened. Like he didn't have a near-death experience 4 days ago. Like he's not the dog who saved a 6-year-old girl's life. I think he can handle it. Over the next 6 weeks, Maria and Rookie undergo intensive training. They wake before dawn and work until sunset. They practice in all conditions, all terrain. Rookie learns to differentiate between dozens of different scents. He learns to track over water and through urban environments and across miles of open desert. The first time he successfully tracks a scent through a creek bed for 2 miles, Maria nearly cries with pride. The evaluators time him at 43 minutes, start to finish, never losing the trail even when it crosses water 3 times. Chen watches from the sidelines and nods his approval. But the training is not just about Rookie's nose. It is about building his confidence, about teaching him to trust himself even when his body feels unreliable. Some days are harder than others. Some days he seems afraid of his own shadow, as if waiting for the next seizure to strike. Maria learns to read his moods. She learns when to push and when to rest, when to celebrate small victories, and when to let failures pass without comment. They become fluent in each other's language. He has 2 more seizures during this period, both brief, both managed with medication. Dr. Reeves adjusts his dosage and monitors him closely. She tells Maria that many working dogs with epilepsy go on to have successful careers. The key is management and awareness. The second seizure happens during a training exercise. They are searching a warehouse complex for a hidden scent article. Rookie is 40 yards ahead when Maria sees his gait change, sees his head tilt. She sprints to him, shouting for the evaluators to stop the exercise. She reaches him just as he goes down, cushioning his head with her hands. This time she is ready. This time her hands are steady. She times the seizure on her watch. 68 seconds. When it ends, she gives him the anti-seizure medication Dr. Reeves prescribed for emergencies. Rookie licks her face, disoriented but trusting. The evaluators want to call off the rest of the day. Maria refuses. They wait 30 minutes for Rookie to recover fully. Then they start the exercise again from the beginning. Rookie finds the scent article in under 10 minutes. Chen pulls Maria aside after. "You're taking a risk with him." Chen pulls Maria aside after. "You're taking a risk with him." "I know." Maria does not look away from where Rookie is drinking water, his tail wagging like nothing happened. "But he's taking a risk with me too, trusting me to keep him safe, to not give up on him." "That's not the same thing, isn't it?" Maria turns to face Chen fully. He saved Carmen's life. He has found things no other dog found. He has a gift, Marcus. And yeah, his body doesn't always cooperate. But whose does? You think any of us are perfect? Chen's jaw tightens. "I'm not saying wash him out. I'm saying be realistic. What happens when he has a seizure in the field and someone dies because you're tending to him instead of tracking?" The words land like a punch. Maria feels them in her chest, sharp and heavy. It is the question she asks herself every night before sleep. The fear that wakes her at 3 a.m. Then I'll have to live with that. She keeps her voice level. But I won't wash out a good dog because of something that might happen. I won't punish him for trying his best. Chen studies her for a long moment. Then he nods slowly. Okay. But the minute he becomes a danger to himself or others, this conversation happens again. Deal. Maria becomes an expert at reading Rookie's pre-seizure signs. The slight glazing of his eyes. The way his head tilts just a fraction to the left. The subtle change in his gait. A barely perceptible hitch in his back leg. She learns to get him to safety before the convulsions start. To protect his head and keep him calm until it passes. She carries emergency medication in her vest at all times. She knows the nearest veterinary clinics in every jurisdiction they work. She has Dr. Reeves on speed dial, and Rookie learns to trust her completely. To know that when his body betrays him, she will be there. That she will not leave him alone in his fear. That she will not see him as broken or less than. Their bond deepens into something unbreakable. On a Wednesday morning in late spring, they receive their certification. Rookie passes every test with near-perfect scores. He is officially designated as a specialized tracking K9, qualified for missing persons cases and complex search operations. Chen shakes Maria's hand at the ceremony. "I knew he had it in him. But I'll be honest, I wasn't sure you did." Maria raises an eyebrow. "Thanks for the vote of confidence. I mean it as a compliment." Chen's expression is serious. A lot of handlers would have washed him out after that first seizure, would have said he was too much of a liability. But you saw something in him worth fighting for. That takes guts. He saved a little girl's life. Maria looks at Rookie, who sits perfectly still at her side, despite all the activity around them. "That's all the proof I need." Their first official tracking mission comes 2 weeks later. An elderly man with dementia has wandered away from his nursing home. Local police have been searching for 8 hours with no success. The family is frantic. The temperature is dropping and nightfall approaches fast. Maria and Rookie arrive on scene just after midnight. The man's daughter meets them in the parking lot, her eyes red from crying. He doesn't know where he is. He gets confused. "Please find him." Maria takes the pillowcase the daughter offers. She kneels beside Rookie and lets him smell it thoroughly. The fabric carries the scent of soap and something sweet, maybe cologne. Rookie's nostrils flare. His eyes sharpen with focus. "Find." Maria gives the command, and they begin to work. They search through residential neighborhoods and parks. Rookie pulls Maria across busy streets and through someone's backyard. His nose stays low to the ground, tracking something Maria cannot sense. She trusts him completely. When he veers left into an alley, she follows without question. When he scrambles over a fence, she climbs after him. 3 hours into the search, Rookie's pace quickens. Maria feels it through the lead, that surge of certainty. He has something strong now, not just hints, but a direct trail. They cross an empty lot filled with broken glass and weeds. The moon is bright enough to see by. Rookie leads her to a drainage ditch that runs behind an industrial park. He stops at the edge, nose working frantically. Then he barks, the alert bark that means found. Maria shines her flashlight into the ditch. The old man is there, wedged between concrete walls, unconscious but alive. His skin is cold to the touch, his pulse weak, but alive. Paramedics arrive within minutes. The family sobs with relief. The daughter hugs Maria so tight she can barely breathe. Thank you, thank you, thank you, but Maria just kneels beside Rookie and hugs him tight. Good boy, such a good boy. That becomes their pattern. They work missing persons cases across the border region. Children who wander off during family picnics. Dementia patients who get lost on their way home. Hikers who go off trail and lose their bearings. And occasionally, trafficking victims like Carmen. People who need finding before time runs out. Their second week on specialized duty brings a case that tests them both. A 3-year-old boy vanishes from a campground at dawn. His parents woke to find his sleeping bag empty and the tent door unzipped. Search and rescue teams comb the area for 6 hours with no trace. When Maria and Rookie arrive, the mother is beyond consolation. She rocks back and forth, arms wrapped around herself, making sounds that barely qualify as human. The father stands apart, staring at the tree line with empty eyes. Rookie takes the scent from the boy's blanket. He tests the air, his body going still with concentration. Then he moves toward the forest. The trail leads deep into pine woods. Rookie navigates fallen logs and dense undergrowth with practiced ease. Maria follows, her radio crackling with updates from other search teams finding nothing. The forest is vast. A small child could be anywhere. 2 miles in, Rookie stops. His head tilts left. The pre-seizure sign. No, not now. Maria's heart hammers. She checks her watch. They have been tracking for 90 minutes. The boy has been missing for nearly 8 hours. Every minute matters. Rookie whines. His legs start to tremble. Maria makes a decision. She pulls out the emergency medication and administers it immediately, before the seizure fully manifests. Dr. Reeves warned her this might stop a seizure in its early stages, but it also might just delay it. The medication takes effect within seconds. Rookie's trembling slows. His head straightens. The glazed look in his eyes clears. You okay, boy? Maria runs her hands over him, checking for any signs of distress. His heartbeat is fast but steady. He licks her face. Then he turns back to the trail and pulls. They find the boy 15 minutes later. He sits at the base of a massive oak tree, covered in dirt and scratches, crying softly. When he sees Rookie, his face transforms. Doggy! The reunion with the parents happens in a blur of tears and thank yous. The mother falls to her knees and clutches her son like she will never let go. The father shakes Maria's hand over and over, unable to form words. Back at the truck, Maria sits in the driver's seat with the door open. Rookie drinks water from his bowl in the back. She can see him in the rearview mirror, his tail wagging contentedly. Her radio crackles. Good work out there, Santos, Chen's voice. Heard the kid is fine, thanks to Rookie. Maria keeps her eyes on her dog in the mirror. He almost seized, didn't he? Yeah. Maria's throat tightens, but he pushed through. We found the boy. Chen is quiet for a moment. Then, get some rest. Both of you. Maria drives home in silence. She thinks about the medication she used, about how she gambled with Rookie's health to finish the mission, about whether that was the right call. But then she thinks about the 3-year-old boy, about how his mother held him, about the fact that he is alive and safe, and will grow up to have a life. And she knows she would make the same choice again. Rookie has 3 more seizures over the next year. Each time, Maria handles it calmly. Medication adjustments, rest periods, then back to work. Other handlers start asking her advice about working with epileptic dogs. She tells them the truth. It's harder. It requires constant vigilance. But it's worth it. Because these dogs have just as much to offer as any other. Maybe more. On the anniversary of Carmen's rescue, Maria receives a package in the mail. The return address is unfamiliar, but the handwriting on the label is careful and precise. She opens it at her kitchen table, while Rookie naps on his bed in the corner. Inside is a drawing done in crayon. It shows a stick figure girl with black hair and a brown stick figure dog with pointy ears. They stand under a yellow sun and a sky filled with birds. The colors are bright, almost aggressive in their cheerfulness. Above them, in careful child's handwriting, are the words, "Thank you for saving me." Maria's eyes blur. She blinks hard and turns the drawing over. Carmen has written a note on the back, the letters forming crooked lines across the page. Dear Agent Santos and Rookie, I am in 2nd grade now. My teacher says I am good at math. I have a puppy named Cookie. She is brown and likes to chase squirrels. When I am scared at night, I think about Rookie and how brave he was even when he was shaking. That helps me be brave too. My mom says you are a hero. I think Rookie is the hero. Tell him I love him. Thank you for not giving up. Love, Carmen. Maria reads the note 3 times. Each time her throat gets tighter. She thinks about that day in the cave, about Rookie collapsing, about Carmen's terrified scream, about how close they came to losing both of them. But they didn't lose them. They saved each other, really. Carmen gave Rookie purpose, and Rookie gave Carmen hope. She walks out to the training yard where Rookie is practicing scent discrimination with a group of new recruits. The young dogs watch him work with something approaching awe. This dog who has become legendary in Border Patrol circles. The epileptic K9 who saves lives. Maria calls him over, and he trots to her side, tongue hanging out, eyes bright with joy. She kneels and wraps her arms around his neck, holding the drawing where he can see it. She does not read him the note. He cannot understand words. But she thinks maybe he understands something more important, that he is loved, that he matters, that his existence has changed lives in ways that can never be fully measured, that a little girl in 2nd grade sleeps better at night because she knows he exists. I'm proud of you, boy. Maria's voice cracks on the words. Every single day. 2 years after Carmen's rescue, Maria and Rookie receive a commendation from the Border Patrol. They have successfully completed over 100 tracking missions with an 87% success rate. They have found lost children, elderly patients, crime victims, and migrants in distress. Rookie is 4 years old now. Still young, but more mature. His seizures are controlled with medication, and he has not had an episode in 6 months. He works with the same enthusiasm as always, but with greater wisdom. He has learned patience. He has learned strategy. He has become one of the best tracking dogs in the entire border region. At the ceremony, Maria stands on stage with Rookie sitting perfectly at her side. The room is full of agents and their families. In the back row, she spots Rosa Hernandez and Carmen, now 8 years old and healthy. When the speeches are done and the medal is pinned to Rookie's collar, Carmen walks up to the stage. Maria lifts her up so she can pet Rookie properly. The girl wraps her arms around the dog's neck and whispers something Maria cannot hear. Later, Rosa tells her what Carmen said. She thanked him for not giving up, for finding her even when his body was breaking down, for showing her that courage means doing what's right even when you're afraid. Maria thinks about that drive through the desert to the white van, about Rookie pulling toward those rocks with single-minded determination, about him collapsing in that cave but still trying to alert her to Carmen's presence. She thinks about every mission since then, every trail followed through impossible terrain, every person found because Rookie refused to quit. And she understands that Carmen is right. Courage is not the absence of fear or weakness. It is moving forward despite them. It is doing the job when your body betrays you. It is protecting others even when you need protection yourself. Rookie taught her that. This young dog with epilepsy, who was told he would never make it as a working K9, who was considered a risk, a liability, too broken to trust with important missions. This dog who saved lives, who changed everything. They walk to Maria's truck together after the ceremony. Other handlers stop them to offer congratulations. Rookie accepts their praise with patient grace, his tail wagging slowly. When they finally reach the truck, Maria opens the door and Rookie jumps in. But before she closes it, she takes a moment to look at him. Really look at him. He meets her gaze with those intelligent brown eyes. In them she sees loyalty and courage and an unshakable will to serve. She sees a partner who has never let her down, a friend who has taught her more about resilience than any human ever could. And she sees the future, years of work ahead, more missions, more saves, more moments when Rookie's nose and determination mean the difference between life and death for someone. She climbs into the driver's seat and starts the engine. Rookie settles into his spot by the window, watching the world pass by. They drive toward home as the sun sets over the desert, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Tomorrow they will work another case. Someone will need finding, and Rookie will do what he does best. But for now, in this moment, Maria just drives. And beside her, the young dog who changed everything rests his head on the window frame, content. The metal on his collar catches the last light of day, gleaming bright against his dark fur. A symbol of honor earned through perseverance and heart. A reminder that heroes come in all forms, even ones that shake and fall and get back up again. Even ones with broken bodies but unbreakable spirits. Even ones named Rookie.